Nearly 40 years after the death of their baby, the Gallaghers arranged to relocate their son Brian's remains so that he could one day be buried near them at the Veterans Cemetery in South Dakota. However, Mary, Pat, and Shawn Gallangher received a phone call that left them stunned. It was the funeral director, Mary Pat, recalled the director saying, quote, "I have never witnessed anything like this. He looks as if he is simply sleeping," end quote. During the re-interment process in 2019, the original casket was accidentally damaged, requiring it to be opened so Brian's body could be transferred to a new one. But what shook them was Brian's body appeared to be completely untouched by time. Even after 37 years, Brian remains the same, just as he was buried. Stunned by the call, the Gallaghers traveled to the cemetery. Overwhelmed with emotions, Mary Pat said, "It was like we are seeing our son again." She shared, quote, "I picked him up. It was beautiful. I got to hold him once more," end quote. In 1982, Mary Pat gave birth to her son Brian at Fort Knox Army Base in Kentucky. Due to complications during labor, he was rushed to the neonatal intensive care unit. Despite efforts to revive him, Brian passed away shortly after birth. He was embalmed and laid to rest in a standard infant-sized casket. An autopsy was also performed after his death, the procedures that would normally accelerate the natural process of decay. Knowing their son was in critical condition, Mary, Pat, and Shawn requested a priest to perform baptism. Overpowered with grief, neither of them could recall the sacrament being performed. Later, when they began documenting Brian's story, they discovered no record of Brian's baptism existed within the diocese. However, from the nurses' notes from the hospital that day confirmed that a conditional baptism was performed about 35 minutes after Brian's death. A chance encounter in March at a Catholic women's luncheon led Mary Pat to open up about Brian's story to a guest speaker, Bryony Edwards, a fellow grieving mother. Initially, Mary Pat felt the Holy Spirit has prompted her to share the story as a comfort to Edwards. But in time, she came to see that moment as a divine invitation to begin sharing Brian's story more widely. Moved by the encounter, Edwards took the mission to heart. She created a website, consulted with canon lawyers, and launched a petition to explore the possibility of opening a cause for Brian's canonization. That petition is now under review by two bishops, Archbishop Timothy Bergoglio of the Archdiocese for the Military Services, who has expressed support for an investigation if initiated by the local bishop, and Bishop Scotty Bullock of the Diocese of Rapid City, from whom the Gallagher family is still awaiting a response. Reflecting on the time of the baby's baptism, Edwards shared that knowing that Brian was not baptized before his death is also an enormous consolation for parents who didn't have the opportunity to baptize their babies. Mary, Pat, and Shawn went on to raise 3 more children, and the power of their story lies in the peace and hope it offers to grieving parents.